Welcome back to another episode of Off the Charts with Jay and myself, Arshad. It's the 7th of March here in Dubai, and it's been a week, hasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think so people care about our names anymore.
Yeah.
It's more about, we are recording this podcast. It's 7th of March. We are recording this podcast from Dubai. And I have been posting good things about what's happening in Dubai, but how Dubai is handling it. And I have got a few comments, and I think this podcast will be live. We are recording this live from Dubai, and it's going to be our real life experiences of what is happening in Dubai, which will be followed by the trading content, how what is happening in the UAE, in the Middle East in general, is affecting the market overall. And then we will again talk about what is happening in Dubai. So what are your thoughts in the past 1 week? So last episode we recorded, the episode 7 of Off the Charts, was on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then we went back home.
Right.
And during that time, it got a lot worse.
So I think Friday is when the US attacked Iran. We knew
Friday
of that.
night, yeah.
Friday night, yeah. And
After
we knew
the
of
market
that.
closed, I think, yeah.
We saw the reports on X, and I think it was during trading hours as well. And we went to sleep peacefully, and then we recorded the podcast Saturday morning. And then by the time we got back home post-recording the podcast, we had like a small little gathering. We were friends were over. And that's when the alerts started going off on X. We started getting some phone alerts.
And we could hear the blast as well. So Saturday night, we could hear a lot of, not the blast, the interception.
Not the blast, yeah.
The interception, we could hear it. It got a lot worse after we recorded the podcast. And before that, and I don't know, I expected US to do that with Iran. But I was not expecting UAE to be involved that much. They are trying to be not too involved, but they are unfortunately
They're
involved.
still kind of not involved, I would say. I don't think the GCC countries have gone on the offensive or anything just as yet. Of course, they have every right to, and that's my opinion. I feel like
that's what all the opinions, if you search online. So whatever we talk about in this podcast is going to be our thoughts and from the official sources of the government Twitter account.
If there's anything that we aren't sure of, I think we will say, I'm not too sure of this, don't quote me on it.
And still, I'm going to put a disclaimer because we don't want to get banned because of whatever, just speaking our thoughts. We won't be, because I have been seeing, because we talked about this in the last podcast as well, that 60-70% of the people who live in UAE are from South Asian countries.
Yeah.
And specifically in South Asian media, they are seeing AI generated videos of bombs hitting the Burj Khalifa or whatever, which is not true, which is not what happened.
They're broadcasting that on the news when it's categorically untrue.
Yeah, it's AI, literally AI, a lot of reels online, especially these things I don't see it a lot because I live in UAE and I like the post that I actually verified sources. And because of that, my Instagram algo just shows me the truth, what is actually happening in UAE. But a lot of Indian and South Asian, Bangladeshi, Pakistani media, they all are scared because a lot of their families is in UAE.
Fair.
So I don't feel it's right on the part of the journalist and
the media,
the
essentially, right?
The media,
It's every situation like this creates opportunity to get more clicks.
Yeah.
And there's the right way to go about it, and then there's the wrong way, right? If you want to be keeping people informed, then at least fact check your information to ensure that what you're putting out there is not just creating mass panic. There's no point in that.
The mainstream media is actually posting AI generated videos, which is so bad.
You couldn't say this 3-4 years ago where you'd have AI generated content taking over social media. But anyways, I think generally speaking, and I think you can agree with me on this, Dubai is extremely peaceful.
It's actually even more peaceful than it was a week ago.
The traffic is less. There's less crowds on the road. If you want to go to the beaches, then you can find a nice spot in the sand to lay and chill. I don't think any. I think I can say this with factual consistency that I don't think any missiles have landed in the UAE.
They have landed in the UAE territory. So yesterday, one missile landed. They did not disclose the location.
Missile or drone?
Missile.
Okay.
So they intercepted yesterday. As far as I remember, there were 8 missiles fired in the UAE.
Okay.
7 were intercepted. 1 landed in the UAE territory. But again, to fact check it, you can go on X. Don't look at any other sources. Follow the channels. There is one that is called National Emergency Crisis, something like that. UAE, if you search for it, you will find the profile. It's a verified profile. The other one is Ministry of Defense, UAE in English. So they have two. They post all the bulletins in French, Arabic, English, everything. So you have to follow these sources. So yesterday, as far as I remember, or day before yesterday, 8 missiles were launched, 7 were intercepted, 1 landed in the UAE territory. So yeah, there are a few missiles landed in the UAE territory. And up until 2 days ago, as far as I remember, 3 people died, unfortunately.
3 people. I think.
94 were injured, which is still, I would say, not as bad. I mean, whatever is happening is bad. This should not happen.
It's bad, but if you consider the fact that I think 60. I read some stats that said that 60% of Iran's attacks, missiles and drones combined, have been launched towards the UAE. I think that amounts to over 1,000 missiles and drones, maybe 1,000 or 2,000. I'm not exactly sure of the exact number, but I believe maybe like 99% of the missiles have been intercepted and 94% of the drones have been intercepted. So all things considered, I think the UAE is doing a phenomenal job in protecting its land, protecting its people, protecting its residents, and keeping everyone fairly calm in a pretty tumultuous situation.
Yeah, everything is normal. That's what I discussed. I posted a few reels as well on my Instagram. Everything just feels normal. For me as an individual, I actually like this UAE more than the usual UAE because the traffic ain't
There's
too
less
bad.
commotion.
So I talked about that on my Instagram story as well. I moved from Australia. So in Australia, sometimes I used to, not sometimes, every day I used to go for long drives, right? At night, the trading used to be at night. At 9, 10 p.m., I'm going to go for a drive, have something, a small bite, come back home, trade. And after a good day of trading, the next morning, I'm going for a drive, going for like breakfast or something, right? You used to enjoy drives.
Yeah.
In Dubai, usually, normal Dubai, you don't enjoy drives because it's just like being stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
But this time you can actually enjoy driving in Dubai because so for me as an individual, I feel like it's actually better than what it was a week ago. But whatever is happening, it's really bad. But if you look at the stats, approximately 100 people overall, like 94 injured, 3 or maybe more than that now. I don't know. So this podcast is going to be releasing on 8th of March. I haven't checked the stats for yesterday. What the numbers I'm speaking, I think, are from day
Through
before
the week,
yesterday.
generally, I think.
Yeah. So you can check out these like X accounts, verified sources for good knowledge and what is happening actually in UAE. But I feel like UAE is doing a really good job because, as you mentioned, majority of the missiles and the drones and everything, the attack of Iran is targeted towards UAE. But still, on the news, you are seeing a lot of fires. There have been a few fires in UAE, but majority of the fires are in like the other Middle Eastern regions.
Yeah.
But UAE is doing a really good job. I would say the
job.
best job in the Middle East, trying to protect their residents.
And this is something that I was pretty uneducated about when it comes to like the country that I live in.
Same.
I didn't know the military capability of the UAE. But I think this is the first time that the UAE is in a situation where it's
Not
pretty
the
much
first time. I mean, in the past like 60, 70 years. Middle East used to be like, I mean, overall, generally, very war kind of zone.
Yeah.
But in the past 60, 70 years, I feel like this is
the first time in a while. But like I wasn't aware that the military capabilities of the UAE was so advanced, and I'm so pleasantly surprised, and I'm so proud, essentially, to be like a resident of the country. I don't think. So there's two aspects of this, right? Like, as you guys know, like my wedding is happening in 2 weeks. And if my wedding wasn't happening in 2 weeks, I don't think I could have confidently said that I don't think I haven't felt any less safer than I did 2 weeks ago. Like I still feel exactly the same. I would not be leaving the country, or I would not even be trying to leave the country. And this could be moving on to the next topic, where the real issue is that for people that have other commitments outside of the GCC, the big headache then becomes, because the airspace is shut for safety reasons, of course. It's a bit tricky to get out of the country when you kind of need to get out of the country, and that sort of creates a bit of a stressful time for those individuals.
Yeah, there are two ways to go about it. Yes, there is fear, especially from people who don't live in UAE. People who actually live in UAE, they were like, okay, and a lot of people are coming back to UAE from different countries where they were traveling. They are like, okay, we want to go back to UAE because their home is in UAE. A lot of businesses have been affected. So this podcast studio, we just had a chat with the people who are helping us. They mentioned that the bookings are just not there anymore because people are not recording. So it affects the businesses a lot. A lot of businesses are facing very hardship in a week, what is happening. And this might continue because the fear is something that lags around. I remember 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had a chat with a friend of mine from Australia. He was planning to invest in UAE. He already has investments. He was planning to invest more. I'm not saying now, I haven't had a chat with him, but not saying that he won't invest anymore, but he might hold on to it for a while.
Yeah.
So that's why like this might affect the real estate market. Not might, I think it will affect the real estate market in the short term. But as far as I can tell, day-to-day life, I think everything is normal. Same thing, Noon, Kareem, all the delivery sources are like 10 minutes.
Delivery
10
guys
minutes.
who are like super on it. And while they're advising most people to stay indoors, these guys are still like out there and like supporting sincerely supporting like
Yeah.
everyone.
Deliveries are
who's-
actually faster
Yeah.
now. It's good for them as well because the traffic is not that good. I mean, the traffic is again not that bad. And whatever is happening, it's really bad, but we don't feel the side effects. And that is because of the air defense and what UAE is doing for the residents. And the stat is, again, not the factual stats. I saw this reel and articles that the drones that Iran is firing in UAE and other Middle Eastern countries, it takes like $20,000 to $50,000 per drone. And the missile that to intercept the drones are like $1 million.
$1 million per missile or something.
So yeah, that is unsustainable. I don't know how long we are going to be able to sustain it, whatever is happening. So we again don't know if they can make the missiles ASAP. Again, we don't know.
I read something about that. So I think the production timeline, so these missiles interceptors are essentially coming in from the US. Again, don't quote me on this. This is something I read at some point in the day, at some point in the week. But it's coming in from the US, and I think they're only able to produce 60 to 90 interceptors a month or something like that. So it's
Interceptors
definitely
or drones?
interceptors.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, once we run out, we kind of run out. So let's hope it obviously ends sooner rather than later for all parties involved.
And the same thing is happening with Iran as well. They will also run out of all their drones and
stockpile,
missiles.
yeah.
But drones are obviously easier to make, cheaper. But
Yeah.
yeah, interceptors are difficult to make, and $1 million compared to $50,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, overall, I feel like I feel safe in UAE at the moment. Yes, in the morning we got this alert. So we got this alert. I was on my walk with my dog time. So this kind of alert is pretty common in UAE now. So we received it yesterday, day before yesterday, for the past 3-4
almost
days.
every day, I'd say,
Yeah.
like every alternate day maybe.
So due to current situation, I'm going to show you a screen. I mean, I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm going to hide my face so that you guys can see it. I'm going to zoom in if I remember. But due to current situation, a potential missile threats, seek immediate shelter in the closest secure building and to stay away from windows, doors, and open areas. Await for further instructions. So we get this notification, which is usually in the next like 20-30 minutes, followed by a safety notification that you can read.
So then it's usually like it comes in waves, right? Like each missile attack comes in waves. So you get the warning essentially first, which is what Jay announced. And then like 20-30 minutes later, once the wave is essentially over, you get, thank you for your cooperation. We reassure you that the situation is currently safe. You may resume your normal activities while continuing to remain cautious and take the necessary precautions and to follow the instructions of the MOA.
And this was 42 minutes ago. After getting this notification, we were anyways planning to make this. It was scheduled for 11 a.m. Dubai time. We got this notification at 10:15. So we were like, okay, let's resume. And also the businesses, I think, are doing pretty good. So we can talk about that. But before that, we can talk about businesses are doing good in the sense to help out the community of the UAE. But we will talk about that after the trading section of the podcast. So let's talk about trading now. How was your trading last week?
After everything that's going on in like the world, with yet another war in the same decade. I think this is war number.
It's not a decade. Decade starting 2020.
Starting 2020. Okay, let's put it like
Pandemic was also maybe a kind of a war.
Just
war
like
against
a black swan
COVID
event. Yeah. But yeah, like I don't know. This is war number 8, 9, 10. I've lost count at this point. It's almost become normal, and that's terrible to say. Like I don't know why this is a normalcy. But I guess the market has just numbed itself to like anything and everything, because I expected us to finally break out of the range 3 times this week. We tried to test the lows, and each time we kept getting bought back up. The week overall, I think we had 1 or 2 good price action days. But apart from that, like we're still stuck in the range.
Yeah.
I don't really have any other words. Like, I don't know how this is happening.
Yeah, if you look at SPY and QQQ's price action, it's so bad. I mean, if you look at the daily bar, the daily candles, so bad, really bad price action overall. I remember the day we had good price action, so I made money on that day. Fortunately, I was a bit aggressive on that day because I know how rare these opportunities are in this market, which is, again, we talked about in the last podcast, that you have to be a sniper and not a machine gun. So on Wednesday, Tesla broke out, Amazon broke out. If I'm not wrong, you made money on Amazon?
Yes.
I made money on Tesla. I took like 2 trades, $5,000 each approximately. Overall, I ended the day with $9,700. I'm going to post a recap of that day on my main channel, including of what was happening in Dubai. And on that day as well, we got a notification. So it just feels weird, like this notification due to missile threats. I never thought in my life that we're going to get these kind of alerts. Usually the alerts are like, there's flooding going on, natural disaster, but this is like human kind of generated disaster that you're getting the notifications for. But then overall, Wednesday, I made that money. Thursday, I did not trade. Friday was a red day for me. As I mentioned on the Lightspeed Trader, Lightspeed platform, I have a hard stop loss set. So again, I can't lose more. I can lose more than $2,000, but once I cut the position, I can't place any more trades. So that is a really good feature that is helping me. The good thing I did was that I'm very proud of it, that on Thursday, I did not even trade. Did not even show up. I did not even show up. I actually posted that on my Instagram as well. I was planning to trade. I opened up my trading view. I opened up all the platforms except the Lightspeed Trader where I actually placed my orders. And I saw it. I saw the price action. I saw the watch list. I went through the whole watch list, did not find anything. I shut down my platforms. I got off my desk. And then I was like, okay, might as well go for a drive, go for like maybe to the park with my dog. We actually were in the parking lot. Sat in the car, me and my wife, and we got the notification due to missile alerts or whatever. You have to stay indoors. So we went back and we just stayed indoors. But yeah, overall the price action, and I wish I would have taken yesterday off as well.
Yeah.
The price action was actually worse than Thursday.
By a long shot. I mean, I don't know. I for some reason, of course, my gut feeling has been a bit off in this market. But I don't know. I had a feeling that yesterday we'd kind of drop more. It seemed primed to drop more, but
so I talked about this. ES already moved $130 before the market opened up. The overall daily range was $150.
Statistically speaking, it made sense to not move, but I don't know. I just had a feeling that it would move, but I was wrong, and it did not move. And I also had not a great day Friday. I wish I was on Lightspeed already so that I could have had a locked-in stop loss, but it wasn't that bad. But it was avoidable. Yeah. It was one of those avoidable days that we've discussed that you don't need to trade every day, and showing up sometimes is not always the best decision.
So we talked about this in the last podcast that you should not trade, don't show up. I did not show up on Thursday, but then I had that urge to trade on Friday.
Yeah.
So that is something I still need to fight. Yeah. That on Wednesday, I made good money. On Thursday, it was easy for me that there's no point giving back the money. On Friday, I just very frustrated. I told you guys that yes, you lose your confidence. It's not only about losing money. Yes, the stop loss helped me. I made $10,000 on Thursday. Wednesday. Thursday I did not trade. Friday I lost around $2,000, something like that. And yes, I'm green, but it's just frustrating, right? I knew better, like you know better to not to trade this price action. You still trade. And yes, you lose money, but more importantly, your confidence goes down. So it's very important as a trader to keep a track of your confidence and your intuition as well. Discipline is something that Thursday, my discipline should be like 100 because I did not even show up. Friday, my discipline should be like 20. Why did I show up? Like there was nothing in the market. And the confidence slightly drops. Like when you know that you should not trade this market and then you still trade it, your confidence dips, and that has a carry forward effect. That means now on Wednesday, my confidence was really high. Thursday, confidence was really high. Friday, it dropped because of my freaking stupidity. Now on Monday, I'm going in with, say, 70% confidence instead of being at 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Like same. Like I think I had a decent week up till Friday, and I feel like it should have just been avoided. Like you didn't need to take shots there. I think the reason we sort of did show up on Friday more so than Thursday was because we were gapping down, and then you just never know, right? Like it's like, what if the market continues, and you live in that what if scenario in your head, and then I don't know, maybe you'll get like FOMO that if something happens and I don't show up, then I will feel bad.
Yeah, same thing with me. Especially for me, it was a bit more exaggerated because I did not trade on Thursday.
You didn't trade on Thursday as well.
Yeah. So again, that feeling. Last week we only had one good day. So this coming week, depends on what the market does, honestly, because ES closed weak on the weekly chart because we closed near the lows on Friday. So ES actually moved a lot after the employment numbers at 8:30 a.m. ES dropped a lot. After that, the whole day it was consolidation. Then towards the end of the day, we actually closed near the low of the day. So the weekly has a bearish candle now on the weekly chart. So we might actually break this range next week before your wedding, but you are traveling again. So we might actually break this range next week, because finally ES actually closed near the lows. So I think it's 6,700 if I'm not wrong. 6,650, 6,700 zone on ES if I'm not wrong. I don't look at ES that much. But yeah, if we break and hold under that zone, that might get ugly. A lot of stocks they look weak, but they are not selling off because ES is not selling off. Yeah. But I feel like the downside price action hasn't been good the past few days, even though the stocks look like, for example, Friday was a good example. A lot of stocks were gapping down. They look really good for a downside breakdown. That doesn't happen because the market is holding. Eventually, if ES gives up 6,700, I think all these stocks like Google, Tesla, Meta, not even Meta, like a lot of stocks are holding near major
It actually
support.
has
AMD.
a nice bear flag on the daily.
Yeah. So a lot of these stocks that are holding, I would say near major support. If ES loses 6,700, if you trade futures, you can trade futures. If you trade SPY, you can trade SPY. We personally trade stocks options. A lot of these stocks that are near major support, a lot of stop losses will get triggered and people might exit. So
Yeah.
next week, I feel like, especially because we close near the lows, if we break down under that low, can be good price action. Finally, I am hopeful for next week, and that's why I'm so pissed that Friday I had no business to trade, because I discussed that in the Discord group as well, in the pre-market webinar, that ES future, the average true range of ES was around like $150.
Yeah. 105.
105.
105, I think.
105. And in the pre-market itself, it moved like $130.
More than that, yeah.
So in the pre-market, the range was $130. So it's already above the ATR in the pre-market itself. So what else do you expect at the market open? The biggest red days on ES are like $200 and it already moved $130.
Yeah.
So the clean days are when the market moves at the open. If you trade the pre-market, if you trade futures, which is completely okay. For us, stocks traders, when the market opens up, if the market has already moved a lot in the pre-market, then the opening price action can be shitty. But now, and that's why I'm so pissed, I traded on Friday, now my confidence is low. But now we know, because ES closed near the low, Monday can be good price action.
Yeah.
So it's all about just selecting the days. Personally, based on what has been happening the past few weeks, you will see maybe 2 good trades. If you see 2 good trades, 2 good days in a week, it's a win.
Yeah.
It's a win, right? Usually it's like, for me, based on my playbook from 2025-24, I should not trade, say, 2 days in a week or 1 day in a week. Now it's like, don't trade 3 days in a week out of 5 trading days, which is a lot. Like sitting on your hands for 3 days in a week, personally.
It's like, am I even working?
Yeah, it's not me. Like I like to work. I like to trade. I am addicted to that dopamine hit, and I mean, you are addicted. Like if you're a trader, you know you are addicted. It's not as bad as it used to be, because as a beginner, I know that you always want to show up. But as an experienced, what do you think? Like, do you also feel like you're addicted to the market?
I'm addicted to the market. At the same time, I know I shouldn't always show up.
Yeah.
So it's like very contradictory in nature, where on some level, I still feel like a noob, where I'm like, I really want to show up every day. But then the wiser aspect, or the wiser side of my brain is like, you know what, you don't need to show up. You need to show up when it matters, not every day.
Yeah. And I feel like it's the same dopamine system that we...
Absolutely, yeah. And also going back to statistically speaking, especially if we're going to be in a market-driven, a market sort of moving environment, it's most likely that we're not going to get many catalyst plays now, because typically stocks tend to not announce things in sort of volatile situations in the market, right? And when we have market moving days where the market dictates how the stocks move, statistically speaking, the market moves mostly in the pre-market, and most of the percentage moves happen in the pre-market. Whether it's up or down, it's usually in the pre-market. So it makes it tricky, because if most of the move happens in the pre-market, then you're not going to be able to capitalize once the market opens on the stocks, which drives in the point harder that you need to stay cash more often than not.
Yeah. And I think we talked about this topic, gambling versus trading. Did we talk about that in the earlier podcast episode, the first few episodes?
Gambling versus trading?
Yeah. I think we touched on it, the dopamine system.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. So it's the same thing, because we talked about that in one of the first few podcasts of Off the Charts, just a brief overview, that I think gambling and trading, yes, they are different in the sense that in trading, you can stack up the odds in your favor. That's what I feel like. In gambling, the odds are always stacked against you. The casino always wins.
Yeah.
In the long term, in the bigger picture. Unless you win a jackpot and you have that feeling, just to call it, which people don't do. Even if they hit the jackpot, they are like, okay, we can hit the jackpot again. And then they lose everything. Same thing as trading, right? You have one big green day, I'm going to make another big green day, and then you lose money. But in trading, you can stack up the odds in your favor. You can focus on the playbook setups, like I mentioned, be a sniper, don't be a machine gun. So you can stack up the odds in your favor. But at the end of the day, biologically speaking, it's the same reward pathway.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Once you get a good green day, your dopamine sees a spike. I was like, spike or pike? Brain fog. Spike. And then after a big red day, it sees a valley, but you are still addicted to that peak in dopamine, that spike in dopamine. And you are like, okay, I want that big green day. I want that big green day. And that is a reason why it's difficult for you to take a step back. not to trade on days you shouldn't trade, because you just, instead of trading, instead of making money, you want that feeling of happiness. You want that dopamine spike, and that's what you're looking after. That's same as addiction of any other addiction. And I feel like you don't feel like that if you are at a 9 to 5 job, because your dopamine is, unless you,
right?
You are like
Depends
in
on
love
the type
with your
of
job.
Yeah.
Sales job also are
you
like,
do get like that
Yeah.
dopamine every time you make that sale. Low-key. It's maybe the spike is not as intense, but
I used to work in IT, so I never got that dopamine spike. It was just like constant, maybe slightly up. Usually it's going down. And then I used to look for that spike during trading.
yeah.
So that was my journey during trading. During working hours from 9 to 5, more like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. During the job time and the IT time, it used to go down. And then I'm looking for that spike during trading.
Yeah.
And I feel like in this market, I feel like if you just learn to how to manage your risk in this market, and my biggest issue, and I can say that for you as well, our biggest issue the past 6 years has been to learn to sit on our hands. That has been our biggest issue. That is the key to our success. Like we are okay, yes, we are making money from trading, but that is the key for reaching that 7 figures mark.
And like even more so in this market, right? Like I've seen a lot of traders speak about this, where it's like your edge has depleted a significant amount in this market. So it's even more important to protect your edge when it matters, because your edge is not there every day.
Yeah.
So you need to know when to like execute when your edge is there and when it's just not there.
Yeah. So my question was, our biggest issue, even before this market, right? Our issue was not to trade, right? On days after a big green day, especially the next day, you lose money.
Yeah.
But do you think this market is going to make us a better trader? Because now this market is actually forcing us, like, if you trade, you will lose money. You should not trade. There are no opportunities on days when the market is not moving. So you actually have to learn this. Otherwise, you won't be here to trade in the next few months.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for me personally, at least, it took a longer time to sort of get into the right mindset where it's playing defensive more than offensive. Because I think January, I had a terrible month. Like I actually had a great first 2 weeks where I did a nice review of my 2025 year. And I started off the first 2 weeks of Jan with super like consistently like green almost every single day, kept my sizing in check, built my confidence, built my discipline. And then I don't know, at some point I took an MU trade. I think it just came back to me. I took an MU trade, which I broke my rule on, and I took more size than I took the entire year up to that point on that MU trade, and I lost big, and that just caused me to spiral out, right? So like Jan, I kind of dropped the ball significantly, and then Feb and March has been more about like rebuilding and sort of adapting to the market, trying to be a better trader, trading less size when it doesn't matter, trying to capitalize when it does matter. So I think over the long run, going through these phases is going to be essential as a trader, because not all phases are going to like suit your edge, suit your discipline, suit everything, right? So you need to know when to dial it back.
Yeah, I think the most difficult part is that when you are being defensive, when to be aggressive, and do you even know how to be aggressive?
Yeah.
So that is one positive I'm taking away from this last week, because on Wednesday, I was actually aggressive. I was like, I took that one Tesla trade. I made $5,000. Ideally, I should have called it. It held above R6. I'm like, this is really good. I can risk more.
Yeah.
So that flipping that switch, because you have to be defensive, right? If you're a defensive, if you, for example, if you play sport, like soccer or football, whatever you call it, a defensive player. I remember I used to follow Chelsea. I don't know if you guys are from that era, but John Terry, the captain of Chelsea, if you ask him to be a striker, difficult, right?
Yeah.
If you ask a defender to be a striker, it's very difficult. And that's why I feel like in trading, if you are being defensive, that one day you actually have to be aggressive, it's very difficult to flip the switch. And that one takeaway I can take away from this last week, one positive thing is that I was able to flip the switch on Wednesday. But then it's again to flip the switch off on Thursday, Friday, and Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? It's like we are still learning. We are trying to find a good middle ground. And it's not only us. We have been watching a lot of videos online.
Plenty of traders are facing the same sort of issue with knowing when to like sort of...
I sent you a post on Reddit. Did you actually go through that post I sent you this morning regarding people using OpenClaw to trade?
No. Yeah.
I sent you a post on Reddit. I sent you a post this morning. I was like, that's why the market is dead on WhatsApp.
Yeah, I saw that.
So did you actually read the post or no?
I read the post, not the comments.
Okay, so the post was basically a guy has just developed like an office environment for his mission control OpenClaw. So people are actually like, there's a trader trading in his desk, like again AI, and then he goes for a coffee break. All these people and this trader are actually trading for him. And that's why the market is OpenClaw at the moment.
Yeah.
So I think we are going to talk about this AI more if we get the time in this podcast or maybe the next podcast, because I feel like
that's a big topic to cover. There's a lot of aspects, and I think you will bring a lot of AI
and
knowledge
I feel
to
like the
table
more
there.
experience I have with my OpenClaw, I'm just constantly using it. He's kind of a bit jealous of me. I can see it on his face.
I want an OpenClaw too.
But at the same time, I feel like he also knows that it's not very useful for him
Yeah.
for what he is doing at the moment. For me, it's helping me a lot. So I know he's a bit jealous that I have a kind of a personal assistant. He doesn't have it. And he was like, I can also have it. We were having the chat yesterday itself. Yesterday we played squash. Day before yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday was leg day. I can feel it. So yeah, day before yesterday, we played squash and we had the same chat. I was like, yes, he is like, okay, I also want an OpenClaw, but the use cases for you are a lot less than me.
True. I think at least with what I'm doing currently at the moment, I need to be a lot more hands-on, and I feel like a lot of your tasks can be like delegated, where you can free up your time to focus on things where you need to be more hands-on as well. So I definitely do see myself getting an OpenClaw or something of that type. Like, I don't know.
We
what's
will
gonna
need a
happen
few
next.
OpenClaws. So whatever we are working on, you don't know about that. The Discord community knows about that. So the business we are working on, then we will get like 2 or 3 OpenClaws. You can have one, your personal OpenClaw.
Yeah.
So we will not open, like if something else releases, but I think it's still good to have them
Yeah.
on a separate machine. Whatever releases, I think it's good to have it on a separate machine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, even like with Cloud Code, I have it on my personal computer. I still feel like it has too much access. Anything more than that, I'm like,
It probably does if you really think about it. But then
it can
as long as you're
uninstall,
taking-
install anything. And sometimes it can even ask you for access to your photos. If you click allow, it has access to your photos. What is it going to do with your photos? Like, and that's why if I am trusting an AI to post for me on Instagram or whatever, I don't want it to I don't want the AI to have access to my personal photos.
To all
It
your
might post
photos.
something else.
Yeah, by mistake.
Yeah, it might post something like a photo of my dog is still fine. I'm going to love it. But something personal, it might post it.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like having any of these at the moment, I think Cloud Code is enough for my personal computer.
Yeah.
Even like it's going to ask for permissions, but giving access to publish, to post comments, to post reels, to post YouTube videos on my channels, for that, I want a separate machine, because then I'm only going to give the videos like
That
on
you
that
provide,
machine.
essentially.
Yeah, I'm only going to give and keep the videos that I actually wanted to have.
Yeah.
And even if you post something else, which is okay, I mean, it's trading related, like it's okay. It's not the end of
Yeah.
the world. But I don't want it to post my personal videos or photos.
Absolutely. And it's a bit tricky because you can only control so much. But I think what you've done with your setup already is like you've taken into consideration all the security practices that should be in place. You have put safeguards. There's like a middleman. There's a second middleman for every sort of
I have 11
flow.
agents now, and all the agents, they're like individual bots. So again, like if I talk about all the details of my setup, I think it needs a whole another podcast. And the good thing for you guys is that, so now let's talk about what's happening in Dubai, how it has affected our life and
Yeah.
your wedding scenario as
Yeah.
well. My flight scenario, I just rebooked my flights again,
Yeah.
expensive AF. We can talk about that, and then how we are going to work. And because of that, he's traveling a bit early. He's leaving on 10th, which is on Tuesday.
Just Tuesday, right? So like I think the biggest issue, like it's not safety in the UAE. Like I don't feel unsafe at all. It's the issue is that I need to be somewhere on a specific date, and
Not be like he's getting mad.
I'm getting married, right? Like on the 20th in Sri Lanka. So I think I need to make sure that I'm there for my wedding. We've already put in a lot of money. A lot of guests are flying from all over the world. Our guest count might drop as well because a lot of people might not be able to make it now because I mean the Gulf is a hub. So a lot of people are flying through the Gulf from Europe, from the US, from all these
A
different
lot of
countries.
connecting flights from UAE to Sri Lanka.
Yeah, so it's been a headache in that sense, and even finding flights out of Dubai has been tough because all the regular scheduled flights have been cancelled, and they're slowly starting to like bring them back, but it's not very reliable in that sense. Like they might get cancelled on a whim because of some missile attack threat that comes in at any point in time. So my wife and I are scheduled, as well as my family, we're all scheduled to fly out on the 10th, which is the Tuesday.
Your family as well.
Yeah, my family is also flying out.
Okay.
I mean, we can't get mad without my family, right?
Same flight.
Yes.
But I thought they were planning to hold off a bit and see. I mean, stick to their original schedule.
I convinced them otherwise.
Okay. Yeah, that's
because
actually good.
I was emotionally blackmailing them on the family group, being like, if you miss the wedding, there's not going to be another one. But yeah, so we managed to get a flight now. Hopefully that flight takes off on the 10th. But I think, yeah, that's been the biggest headache. And I think your
So
flights
you will be
as
gone
well.
from 10th. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about my flights, but you will be gone from 10th until the 27th, ideally.
No. So we preponed that. So that
Okay.
aspect. So we're going to be back on the 23rd.
So yeah, and that is why we are planning, we are not sure yet, but we are planning to record another podcast on Monday itself regarding OpenClaw.
Yeah.
So that podcast, this podcast is going to be coming out, it's going to be released on 8th of March,
Sunday,
that is
yeah.
tomorrow. And then for 15th, because he's not going to be here, I'm flying out on 17th. He won't be here on 15th. That's why we are planning to record another podcast on Monday itself. It might not have any trading content because Monday it's going to be in the
Yeah.
morning on
Yeah.
Monday.
Yeah.
Or we can do Tuesday morning, 10th morning, but you're flying out
Very
10th
hectic
night.
because I have a lot of prep to do now before.
Yeah, so we might record on Monday morning and we will just talk about AI. So if you want to know more about OpenClaw and how I have set up my agents with my workflow, we might record another podcast on Monday. It's not
Yeah.
sure yet, but we are 80% sure we might even record it.
Yeah, we can try and
Because then it's
prep
going to
for
be
it.
like 2 weeks break, but you will continue having the podcast because we recorded it earlier on.
Yeah.
So, and now talking about my flights. So, what happened? I already had flights booked for his wedding from 17th until the 22nd from Sri Lanka. And those flights, I checked the status. In my head, I was like, everything should be normal by then. So, the flights are going to resume the normal operation. So, if you booked the flight, it's going to be valid. This morning, I checked on the website. One flight was saying that affected flight, the other flight was cancelled.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst part is that you can book the same flights again.
Yeah, so we were discussing this earlier this morning. I think what they're doing is they're basically trying to reset the system because there are a lot of people who have booked these flights and they're not sure if they want to travel anymore. So they essentially cancel the flight to reset the entire flight and then you can rebook the same flight. So you're going to get the refund, but then they have a more clear idea of which passengers actually want to fly or which passengers are still in Dubai. Maybe some passengers managed to leave earlier or they want to leave later. So I think the system, I think I understand what they're trying to do, but it's just a bit of a hassle when it comes for like people trying to sort of plan around the entire situation.
Yeah, I think at the moment, Emirates did not fly any, like, Emirates wasn't flying like 2 days ago, but Emirates is the only consistent airline. So if you book a flight, then it's 90% it's going to fly. Like,
Yeah.
there's a 90% chance
I
it's
think they
going to fly.
resumed 60% of their scheduled flights is what I saw last, I think it was yesterday, that said that they're going to resume 60% of their scheduled flights, not the repatriation flights. So it's definitely going in the right direction. Of course, this is conditional to the situation sort of staying calm at any point in time. Like if there's a sort of threat incoming, they will have to like cancel or postpone or whatever it is.
That's why I was a bit iffy. I did not have Emirates flights. I had other flights carriers, and I was like, I mean, might as well book just Emirates. So I got the refund. I mean, apparently the flights were cancelled this morning. I was on a call with customer service, so I should get the refund. Both the flights have been cancelled, and I booked Emirates again, and I just paid like 1.5 times extra. But now it's like peace of mind because the other flights were saying like affected. One was actually saying like cancelled. Request for the refund. I requested for the refund, and I don't know why it's saying cancel the affected flight, and then again you can actually go and book the same flight again, which is so weird. I mean, like, why is it saying affected flight or cancelled flight if you can book the same flight again? So they should not allow you to book the same flight. But as he said, that maybe they are just trying to reset the system because a lot of people, they miss their flights. So they are giving them the option as well to book another flight.
Yeah.
And people who booked the flights, for example, if it wasn't for your wedding, I would have cancelled my trip.
Yeah, probably.
If I was going to Sri Lanka just for a vacation.
If it wasn't for my wedding, I would have canceled the trip. I would have been happy in Dubai, like 100%. But like,
not even happy, like just like not travel, maybe just stay home. Like if you are in UAE, stay in UAE. If you are somewhere outside of UAE, just stay there, maybe, unless you have to travel. That's what I would think, because again, you can travel, but what about coming back, right?
Yeah.
I have to travel, his wedding, I have to be there, and that's why I booked Emirates flight. So now it's like peace of mind. Most likely it's gonna fly. If it doesn't fly, we're gonna deal with that when it comes to
we'll
it.
deal with it when we deal with it.
Yeah. But it's more like if you have to fly, then fly. Otherwise, if it wasn't for his wedding, or maybe if we were going just on a vacation, I would have canceled the trip. Like, I'm happy in UAE. It's fine. Like, I feel safe in UAE. And yes, people have coming back to the UAE. Yes, a lot of people have been injured. A few people have died. But if you look at the statistics of what is happening in the world, a lot people die because of other reasons as well. Yeah. And it's a lot worse in a lot of other countries. And even after, and that's why I have been seeing a lot of news online, a lot of real life experiences from influencers. People say that influencers are lying. I think they are the only true source of...
Absolutely.
Because they are living here.
I'm pretty sure I can say this with certainty that the government does not pay influencers to say things.
Yeah, I got a comment. So I got a YouTube comment on my reel, on my shorts, YouTube shorts I posted. There was a guy, he was like, he's getting paid. you should see the news. They are getting bombed and he's getting paid by the UAE government to lie. I mean, I wish I had contacts in the UAE government.
Yeah,
My
I
life
don't know
would
what
be
kind of government you think this is, but this is not it. The reason I think people are saying positive things is because it truly is, I feel like, a very positive environment.
a lot of like, I saw, do you know Chris Fade?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he has been posting a lot of good things about Dubai. He was like, not like me and none of my friends that I know, he's from Australia. So
Yeah.
I am from Australia. He said the same thing, that people I know, they are also not planning to leave Dubai anytime soon. Like we haven't seen even like a close call. We haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
Yes, if you live near, I would say, there is a location in Dubai where are all the consulate generals and all these
Yes.
consulates and VFS. So if you live near that area, I
All
mean,
the air
yes.
bases. I think the
Air
US has an
bases.
air base in Al Dhafra.
The US consulate, I think, was actually like
That
a
was
drone struck it.
drone hit. Yeah.
And my wife was actually, you were there for the interview a few months ago.
Yes, I was.
My wife was there like a few months ago for the interview. So that is kind of scary. I mean, you were there for the interview, but again, the blast was
But yeah, you
minimal.
relocate. I mean, those are like high sort of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but like those are like dangerous sort of areas.
Yeah.
So you can migrate away from that if that's a possibility. You don't need to be in the dangerous areas.
From what I have
essentially,
seen, that the drones, because they are flying a lot of drones, which is 20 to 50,000, the blast radius is very small
Yeah.
for the drones.
Yeah.
Even if it strikes a building, it's like 1 or 2 apartments are
Yeah.
going to get affected. Which is, and now statistically that happening to you is like,
it's quite low, and I
it
I
can
still don't
happen,
think they're-
but anything can happen.
I don't think they're at least in the UAE. I don't think they're targeting like civilian areas or residential areas and stuff
Yeah.
like that. They are still pretty much targeting maybe like oil depots or ports or US embassies or air bases and military areas. So like it's
Yeah, the
not.
missiles are bad. The drones, I feel like the blast radius is still in control. And even with the drones, the blast is because of the debris of the interception.
Yeah. All in all, we're safe in Dubai.
Yeah, statistically, that's what Elon Musk also posted. Statistically, you are still safer
in Dubai
compared
or
to
in the UAE
Europe region.
than like in Europe. or
than
like-
Europe, than US.
Yeah.
One shooting in US and you are like 50 people died, 100
Yeah.
people died. And in UAE, of the missiles, like people actually shoot or whatever. Like I don't want to get into the politics, but for me, I still feel like people in UAE, they still feel safe because the alternative options are not really good.
Yeah.
The alternate options are again not really good. UAE is the safe haven. That image is gonna maybe change slightly for a few weeks, for
In
maybe
the
a few
region, yeah.
months.
But I think over the long term, it's going to stabilize even more. I mean, I don't know politically speaking what's going to happen with the whole Iran regime change or whatever that they're trying to make happen. But at least the hope is that long term, the GCC becomes even more safer. And I hope also that the situation doesn't go on too long. I think we can discuss this if we have time.
I think we have
briefly. But basically, I read this article that there was basically like the US is playing 3D chess. And the reason for them going so hard on Iran all of a sudden, I mean, not all of a sudden, but so quickly, was because they're trying to sort of kill two birds with one stone, where I believe the Iranian oil exports, I think 60% of China's oil imports are from Iran.
I saw that as well.
And by essentially handicapping Iran's oil exports, that's sort of slowing down the Chinese economy with their goals of AI progress and stuff like that. And I also believe that Iran's exporting or importing, I can't remember, like 90% of the drones are being exported to Russia, which is helping Russia's war with Ukraine. Don't quote me on this. I can't remember the exact
These are
facts.
all our thoughts. I'm going to put a
Yeah,
disclaimer. I think
it's-
this video needs a disclaimer. It's all like our
It's all-
thoughts
it's the
based
thoughts.
on
I
what
do
we
not
have
quote-
seen online,
Yeah.
just like you guys.
So what the US has essentially done is trying to handicap Iran, China, and Russia all with one move. I don't know how true this is.
And what is Iran doing? And if you think about it, I feel like in UAE, because when US bombed Iran, I did not ever think that it's going to affect UAE. I'm like, okay, it's very far away. It's fine.
Iran's right above
But
us.
then Iran started bombing UAE, and for that, the theory is, I saw a video, I think I sent it to you as well, that there's a professor, Jiang or something like
Yes,
that in China.
yes.
He's a something like that. Like he tries to predict the future based on what is happening in the world and the theory and the psychology of all the people involved. He actually predicted that Trump is going to win, and which was like everyone predicted that, nothing insane about it. And he's going to bomb Iran, which also again he also
been
said
talking
that,
about it for a while.
But he has been right on a few things that he predicted like a few years ago, and the things were actually good. So I saw his article, I read his article, I saw a few of his videos. Iran is trying to, they are trying to bomb and missile everything, all the Middle East regions, because Middle East supports US.
Yeah.
And a lot of money.
A lot of the AI has been funded by the Middle East. A lot of AI investments have gone towards the US in making the data centers and giving the subsidizing the energy costs of these AI data centers.
Yeah. So what I read was that if this thing happens, and UAE and all the Middle East countries were actually, when what I saw online, again, these news is some of the news articles are verified, some are like just people posting about it. So we have been reading it a lot because we live in UAE. So the algorithm is targeted towards us to feed us UAE news, and we have been searching about it online as well a lot. So eventually it feels like if they withdraw because of whatever is happening, all the missiles, it's unsustainable. 50,000 drones versus 1 million interceptor. So eventually they want them to withdraw or stop their funding, or maybe stop supporting US, which might happen, which might not happen. Again, we don't know the politics, but what that is Iran's goal, so that to stop the funding or reduce, so that US, again, all these AI companies, they might see a drop. And that's why whatever is happening at the moment is very uncertain. But I feel like when and eventually the certainty happens, like when you see some sort of results, a result of this war, the market is going to start moving.
Yeah.
If the result is negative for US, the market is going to drop. At the moment, everything is in limbo. But eventually there will be an end result of this war. And we will see the end result in the coming weeks, what is happening with the war. And maybe that's why, and that is also scary as well, because when you mention that Iran's exports oils to China, if China gets involved, that is bad.
Yeah, but I think so far, at least both China and Russia have like verbally supported Iran, but they haven't actually done or given army resources. Or
and I think it's because of Trump, to be honest.
I mean, it risks going into literally World War III, right? Like, if you involve the
I
three
think
biggest
it is
players,
World War III. I mean, if they get involved, it's gonna be World War III.
I mean, if you include the US, Russia, and China, which are the three biggest military players in the world, that's pretty much World War III, right?
Yeah. And it's scary. Like, it's kind of scary, crazy at the same time what is happening. But only Trump has the power to initiate World War III, I feel like, because a lot of people, because I have been watching a lot of Iranian, a few people I follow, a close friend of mine, he's Iranian. So a lot of Iranian people, they are in support of what is happening because they saw the country going downhill, the regime falling, or whatever is happening in Iran. Again, they are like 50% population. Not getting into the politics, this is again from few reels.
50-50?
50, 80, 20, whatever. I don't know the reason. But
I thought it would be more like 80-20.
Yeah, most of the people, I would say, are in support of what is happening in Iran. And I saw a reel. I watched a reel maybe 2 days ago from an Iranian girl. She was posting from Iran. And she said that even if I die, it's okay. I'm happy for Iran. What is happening?
Yeah.
Like the supreme leader, whatever happened, she was like, I'm happy. Even though I live in Iran, I'm willing to give my life for it. Even if I die, I'm okay. But I want to see Iran succeed again.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, you also know him, lives in the building, so he goes to, like, he has been to Iran a year ago or maybe 2 years ago, and he was also like, okay, the country has gone downhill a lot in the past few years.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, let's see what the end result is. So for us, the implications are like we just have to be safe and see how the situation develops. I think UAE is slowly going back to normal. Dubai, the traffic is increasing again.
Slightly, yeah.
And everything, I don't know why. It's delusional. I feel like I am delusional. The missiles flying, I think it's new for everyone.
It is new, at least in the region. Like in
people don't know what
but
to
in
do.
the UAE, in maybe Saudi as well. Like we haven't seen like the UAE, Saudi, and all these other GCC countries get involved, because the conflict between Israel and Iran and Iraq and Syria and all these other countries has been going on for a while. So I guess those countries are sort of used to it. But the UAE, the Saudi, Qatar, Bahrain, I think these GCC countries have sort of been out of the mix for a while. And I'm sure it's a new sort of feeling for all these residents. But it is something that we are completely and utterly not in control of. So there's no point really, I guess, stressing and worrying, especially when the government's taking care of its people.
That's why the government is doing their best. There's no UAE's fault in this case. Not a lot of other countries. I mean, they are just defending themselves. They're not even going in offense at the moment, which is really good. But I think the only downside, like, you get hit in the crossfire. And I feel like it's going to have implications, unfortunately, because a lot of people from US, from the Western countries who were planning to invest in UAE, they might hold off for a while.
Yeah.
So yes, people get caught in the crossfires, not even the government, not even UAE in general. The businesses in UAE, as I mentioned, this podcast studio, a lot of other podcast studios, their podcast got cancelled, flight cancellations, airlines have faced a lot of losses. Even airlines can still sustain, not even sustain. I mean, it's bad what is happening, but the local businesses, it affects them a lot. Everything goes down. Like people are not going out, the cafes, restaurants, everything.
As much, yeah.
So businesses, you get stuck in the crossfire. And as a trader, we're also kind of stuck in the crossfire because the market is not moving, but the market hasn't been moving for the past 3 months.
It's not related to this.
So as a trader, you should actually be happy that you are not susceptible to what is happening here. For you, the easiest thing is that freaking sit on your hands.
Yeah.
Sit on your hands. That's the easiest thing you can do.
Well, I think the market has been more volatile, but it's just more volatile in a choppy area. So like, it's still shit.
Even Tesla, I remember from Friday's price action up, looked really good for upside. You saw that high of the day break. What the freaking shit was that? Just like fake out, downside, fake out, upside.
I think there were 2 days this week where we were chatting right after our first like maybe 15-20 minutes of the market opening. I was like, I got slapped on the upside, I got slapped on the downside.
You're just getting slapped in this market, and you just have to wait for the market to find a trend and then just take a trade. And even when the market finds a trend in this market, I feel like the majority big moves are happening after 10 or 10, 15, 10, 15, 10:30 a.m.
Yeah, it makes sense to just wait the first 30 minutes.
I caught that
minutes.
Tesla 9:30 a.m. push up on Wednesday, but that R6 hold was also nice, which was 10:15 a.m.
Yeah.
So even if you miss out, like there are no opening opportunities except a few, maybe 2 opportunities in a month, which is so crazy to say because I make most of my money at the market open. At the market open, the price action has been so shit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this market, whatever faults you had, we had an issue of sitting on your hands. I had an issue of just trading the market open. This market is going to teach you.
It's going to expose
you
your
will
biggest
just
weaknesses.
end up being a better trader. If you take it in a positive way, you can't do anything about changing the market unless you have freaking $50 trillion to move the market. You don't have that. If you don't have that, this market is just going to make you a better trader. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
We have been trying to play like chicken and Tom and Jerry with this fault. Okay, we're going to trade the market open, we're going to trade every day. You still end up being green at the end of the year. But now it's like, if you trade every day, you won't be green.
You won't be green.
Yeah. So it's going to teach you eventually. And if you don't learn, you won't be here to trade in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
So I don't like ending the podcast on a negative note, but the positive is that work on your faults. And if you work on your faults, you will be a better trader.
Understand where your gaps are. The market has its gaps, sure, yes, but you also have your gaps as a trader, and this is the time to work on them. Hone your skill set, hone your discipline, become the best trader you can right now. So when the market does eventually, and it will eventually go back to having some sort of trend, having some sort of consistency, momentum. And in that time, then if you've worked on yourself as a trader in this period, you will be able to execute like a goat.
Yeah, and if anything crazy happens in Dubai, we might record a podcast midweek as well. But as of now, people I talk to, they are not planning to leave UAE. We have to leave UAE because of your wedding. A lot of people are coming back to UAE. This podcast is recorded on 6th, 7th of March in UAE, in Dubai. Nothing happened, you guys can see. So don't believe any of the false sources that you see online. And I feel like people are complaining and against influencers that they are posting false news. I feel like most of the influencers, not everyone, most of the influencers are actually posting real news because they are actually here. A lot of people, they are just, especially the mainstream media, they are posting AI generated videos.
Yeah, I mean, if you're following people who are actually living in the country, I don't think they're saying the wrong things. I can speak. Hold me accountable to this, but if I can speak for all the residents of UAE, that I don't think like anyone feels categorically unsafe.
Yeah, my uncle has been living here for the past like 30 years. I just saw a story. I need to like have a chat with him as well. He was in India actually for a wedding. He came back to UAE yesterday night. So if he was scared, he was like, I'm going to stay in UAE. The whole family came back to UAE. So they have a dog here. I told you about that. So they have a dog here. The dog was here. They went for a wedding and then this thing happened. But as soon as the flights opened up, they are back here.
Yeah, and I think we will also be doing the same. Like as soon as we're able to come back from my wedding, like I'm pretty sure we're going to be back ASAP.
So when is your flight now?
We haven't booked the return ticket yet, but it's going to be on the 22nd or the 23rd.
So book the same flight as us. It's going to be fun.
What flight are you on?
22nd. I'm going to tell you after the podcast. It's like we're not even on the podcast. Thank you for watching. We will see you guys in the next one.
In the next one.